Hey guys, it's Aislinn, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the process of how I bleach my hair. I'm going to show you how I bleach the back of my head, and I'm also going to give you tips and tricks on how you can do it better at home. I do have another video, and it's just titled How I Bleach the Back of My Head. This is one of my most asked questions. Can you make a video showing how you bleach the back of your head? I already have one, but it was filmed like over a year ago. So today I'm going to do an updated video on how I bleach the back of my head, walking you through step by step on how I make sure I don't miss any spots, and I'm just going to give you guys some tips and tricks maybe to make your life easier if you like to bleach your hair at home. If this is the first video you've seen of mine, I am a licensed cosmetologist and I worked in the salon for around 5 years. Now YouTube is my full-time job, but I'm not a typical stylist, I would say. I actually approve of people doing their hair at home and I encourage it. Not everybody is made out of money and not everybody can afford to spend hundreds of dollars in the salon to get their hair done. I'm also not against box color and I don't shame anyone for using products that you find at the drugstore, unlike almost every other hairstylist out there. Again, not everyone can afford professional quality products that you would buy at the salon for like $50 for shampoo. It is not a necessity, it is definitely a luxury, and a lot of people don't have that luxury. So I'm hoping to give you guys some tips and tricks so that way if you bleach your hair at home and you struggle, maybe some of the advice I give you will help. I have not gotten my hair colored by a professional in probably like 3 years, which is the last time I worked at a salon. Obviously the girls would color my hair there, but I've been coloring my own hair for like 3 years now. So I've gotten a lot better at it and I've taught myself a lot of tricks that have helped me. So hopefully I can share those with you today and they help you in some way. So let me get my coloring cape on and take this wig off. And we're gonna get bleaching my hair. Another question I get asked a lot is what my favorite bleach is, or what do I use to bleach my hair? My favorite bleach I've ever tried is the Schwarzkopf Blonde Me 9 levels of lift, and I use 20 volume dedicated developer. This has bond enforcing in it, so it's kind of similar to Olaplex. It's already included in the powdered bleach, so I don't have to worry about adding an additional bond enforcement into my lightener because it already comes. That's another reason why I love this bleach. It's super gentle, it smells nice, 9 levels of lift, and it has the bond enforcement in it. The standard developers you can choose from are 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume. There is higher than 40 volume and there is lower than 40 volume, but the standard developers most people use is 10 through 40 volume. Depending on how light you want your hair is what volume developer you're going to use. My hair is pretty light, so I'm going to be using a 20 volume developer or 6% peroxide. Also, how you mix up your bleach is going to depend on what type of consistency you like and also manufacturer's directions. My bleach is mixed 1 to 1.5 ratio, so 1 ratio bleach, 1.5 ratio of developer, and I just purchased this whisk off Amazon and it's my first time using it and I'm a little obsessed with it. It made the process so much easier and I have a clean brush to start with. Also, when using bleach, it's super important to wear gloves. Again, I'm not a person that cares if you wear gloves when you're coloring your hair using semi-permanent color, but when you're using permanent, demi-permanent, or bleach, it is so important that you wear gloves because they are super strong chemicals that can damage your skin. So when you're using bleach, please wear gloves. When you're using neon vibrant colors, I could care less what you do. If you want to stain your hands, go right ahead, more power to you. I hate when people are like, oh, you didn't wear gloves. Oh my God, it's like the end of the world. Like, is it your hands? No, don't worry about it. If they want to stain their hands, let them stain their hands. What does it matter? With bleach, it's a little bit different because you can actually chemically damage your hands and you can also lighten your fingers. One time I got lightener underneath my fingernail and it hurt for literally days afterwards. It was so sensitive. So I would definitely recommend getting gloves if you don't have any. Dollar Tree has some. That's where my gloves are from. You can get a pack of like 10 or 12 gloves for $1 at Dollar Tree. My hair is a hot mess right now. We've got a lot going on, so let me explain to you what is going on with my hair so that way you know what we're dealing with. So this is my natural hair. It's cute, it's healthy, it's great. I haven't washed it in around a week. If I know I'm going to be bleaching my hair, I try not to wash it as often as I did before, so I waited a full week before I washed my hair this time. Doing that just helps your natural oils accumulate, so that way when you're putting the bleach on your scalp, you're going to have that barrier of your natural oils that you've accumulated over the past week. It's going to protect your scalp a little bit more. If you have a sensitive scalp, definitely recommend waiting a little bit before you bleach your hair and letting those natural oils accumulate to protect your scalp, and that way it's not as sensitive. The next thing I like to do is lather my hair up in some oil. This is a new oil I just got from the drugstore. It's Garnier Fructis. I just like to put this on my ends as an added protection. The chances of me applying this lightener to my roots and not getting any of it on my ends or overlapping it on any pre-lightened hair is slim to none. At some point, a piece of hair is gonna get stuck up here and it's gonna get on my ends, or I might drag the lightener down a little bit too far and it's gonna overlap on this previous blonde section. So I like to have a barrier of oil on my ends, so that way it's going to dilute the lightener and it's going to stop the lightener from activating as fastly and as harshly as it would if there wasn't oil protecting my ends. It's optional, you don't have to do it. I just like doing it, and whenever I've done it in the past, I feel like my hair feels a lot better after I've bleached it. And the oil smells really good, and it's gonna be like a nice treatment for your ends while you're bleaching your roots. Another question I get asked is how often you should bleach your hair. Every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, somewhere in the range of that. I like to do every 2 months, so every 8 weeks. That is going to be like the maximum time you want to wait. Obviously, you can wait as long as you want. It doesn't matter. If you don't want to lighten your hair that often, don't. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be more difficult for your hair to lighten if you wait longer, because as your hair grows out, it gets keratinized once it reaches past a certain point, which makes the lightener harder to lift. That's when you start getting those different bands. So you'll have a band of super light, then you'll have a yellow band, you might have a brassy band. So consistently bleaching your hair and touching up your roots every 4 to 6 weeks is the best way to prevent all that banding. So let me tell you about my current hair situation. I tried to do a color remover method a while ago to lift out the remaining color I have. It did not work. So all of this is leftover color we got going on. When I did that color remover, it did lift my roots. So I have a few bands that we're gonna have to take care of today. It's a perfect demonstration bleaching video because you can see I have many different levels of banding. So you can see right here, I have this brassy area. At the time, I had about as much regrowth as I have now, and I did that color remover, so it lifted my regrowth at the time to this brassy level 8 color. Then we have my natural hair that's come in to about here, and my natural color is around a level 7. Normally, I like to wait a couple more weeks before I bleach my hair, but because I have that banding, it's not looking very great, so I wanted to go ahead and just touch it up now. I think it's been around 6 weeks since I bleached my hair last. Also, if you're a person who has a very sensitive scalp, you can add a sweet and low packet into your lightener or into your color, and that will help with the irritation on the scalp. We used to do that in the salon sometimes. If clients had super sensitive scalp, we would just add some sweet and low in there, and it would help with their sensitivity. I don't know why that works, but I'm sure Google has the answers. Sectioning your hair before you begin bleaching is going to help you in the long run. If you are struggling to bleach your hair at home or you're new to this, I would do 4 sections. 1 section on either side of your head, right behind the ear. And then I would split your hair down the middle and divide these into 2 sections too. So do 1 here and 1 over here. You can obviously section your hair differently. This is just how I would recommend doing it if you're a beginner or if you're struggling. Making sure you're parting your hair is going to help you while you're applying the bleach, and you're gonna make sure you're coating all of your new growth. I like to start in the back of my head for several reasons. Normally, your hair is darker in the back of your head. The top of your head and around your face is where your hair sees the most sunlight or natural light, which automatically lifts your natural color a little bit. So normally around the hairline and on the top of your head, your hair is going to be a little bit lighter. Also, naturally, a lot of people just have darker hair in the back of their head. The hair around your hairline and in your crown is also a lot more fragile and fine than the hair underneath here. So doing those sections last is going to help prevent breakage. If you've overprocessed your hair a lot or your hair is broken off, Normally, the places it breaks off first are in the crown and around the hairline. The biggest thing when you're bleaching the back of your head is to put a mirror in front of you and to have a mirror behind you and line up the two mirrors so when you're looking at the one that's in front of you, you can see the back of your head and the mirror that's behind you. So just take some time and line up the mirrors and make sure everything is squared away so you can see the back of your head in the mirror you're putting behind you. Because I have a mirror behind me and I'm filming, I have to turn off a lot of my studio lights because it creates a large glare in the mirror behind me and it makes it hard for me to see the back of my head. So let me turn off some of my beauty lights and get my second camera set up so you guys can see what I'm doing in the back of my head. I have everything set up now. My camera, as you can see up there, is recording the back of my head so I can do a split screen. I can talk to you on one, and then you can see what I'm doing in the back of my head on the other screen. So, like I said, we're starting in the back sections. So I actually don't like to split my back into two sections. I've just done it so many times. I work better and quicker if I just do the whole back in one section. I'm gonna comb out this back section, make sure there's no tangles. Having the oil in your hair also helps prevent tangles as you're applying the lightener. I'm just gonna lift up the back of my hair, and I'm gonna start by applying at the bottom. For this part, I can feel what I'm doing. Since I've done this so many times, I can kind of feel my way around the back of my head a little bit. I'm just using the end of my brush as a sectioning tool. It's gonna take quite a few times before you start to get the rhythm of everything down. It's hard to look in the mirror and know which direction you're trying to go. When you're looking at the mirror, you wanna go right, but then you go left. So it takes like quite a bit of practice to see what direction you're gonna go. And like I said, once you do this a lot, you can kind of feel your way around the back of your head. I'm not perfect at this by any means, but the more practice, obviously, the better you'll get. I just let my hair down, and then again, I just section off a new piece. I'm hoping once this is applied, the lightener swells a little bit on my hair, so that way it might remove some of the pink and blue I have left over. Another tip is to make sure you're applying a lot of lightener on your sections. You want the section to be fully coated and you want to be able to see the lightener on top of your hair. Another important thing is to take smaller sections. If you're taking really big partings, the chance of you fully saturating your regrowth is slim and you might miss some patches, and that's where at-home bleaches get really bad. Where you've missed pieces of your regrowth and you look like a calico cat. Another thing a lot of people ask me is if my arm gets tired when I'm applying the lightener. At first it did, but again, because I've done it so many times, my body has adapted to me holding my hair above my arm like this, so it doesn't make my arm sore or tired anymore, but yes, it used to. If your arm gets tired, you can always just pin your hair on top of your head and leave it while you're applying to this section, and then go back up, bring down the next section, and pin the hair out of the way. You don't have to hold the hair up like I do. I find it's quicker if I just do it this way instead of having to pin it up. But again, if you're struggling, that's a good tip. Just pin your hair up so you don't have to worry about holding it. When I'm applying the lightener, I'm not only putting it on the section that I brought down, I'm putting it on the top part too. So you'll see as I'm applying it to the top and the bottom of that section. It just makes sure that I'm saturating really well and I'm not going to miss any sections, and it's not going to be blotchy. So apply to the bottom and the top of every section. If you did decide to work in the 4 partings and you're only working in the back right hand corner right now, you can have your mirror set up just like I do on this right hand side to look and apply to the right hand side of this section. And then once you're ready to move on to the left-hand quadrant of your hair, you would scoot your mirror over to this side and line it up so you can see that side of your head and this side of the mirror. When I go back through, once I'm done applying the lightener, and I cross-check all my sections, I move my mirror back and forth. It also really helps if you have a buddy with you. If you have a friend or a partner to help you, make sure you're not missing any sections. That's really helpful. I never have that luxury, and I also don't know if I would trust my husband to bleach the back of my head, and I don't know if I'd trust him if he said I got it all.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces.
So as you can see right there, I felt like I had taken too large of a section. So I just went ahead and split that section in half, and there was a whole piece that I had missed there. I would have caught it when I went back to cross-check all of my sections, but I could tell that I had taken too much hair, so I just double-checked.
I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces.
Once I've gotten to the very top part of this section, I wait and do this part with the front area, because once I get to this top part of my head, I have to lean my head all the way back to be able to see, and it's easier if I'm looking in the mirror in front of me and I just tilt my head down. So I just like to wait to do this top section until I do the side sections. I don't know what it is about bleaching my roots, but it's so satisfying and relaxing to me. I love watching the bleach like be applied on my hair. Outlining your section with lightener before you start going in and applying it also helps. So on this section, I would have gone like this all the way around the perimeter. Just apply the lightener and then go in that section. It kind of just helps like define that one area. It's gonna let you just focus in on getting that section completed, and you're gonna know exactly where you're gonna be taking those sections. So that way, if you accidentally pull hair from a different section, you're gonna know because you have that outline. It's basically like coloring inside of the lines. So once you have that section outlined, you just color all the parts in the middle. And like I said with the back, apply it to the top like this and to the bottom of every section. So when I take this new part right here, take the bleach, apply it on the top of the section and on the bottom. A place that can be easily missed is right behind the ear. So once I have this section all flipped over, I just take the lightener and make sure to apply it right there behind my ear. The Schwarzkopf Blonde Me bleach that I use is a professional product, so you're supposed to have your license to be able to purchase it. However, a lot of you guys have told me you found it on Amazon, so I'm sure you can find it online somewhere. Just know if you're purchasing from Amazon, it could be tampered with. It might not be the correct product because you're not buying it directly from the distributor. Just giving that disclaimer, I'm not recommending. A lot of you guys have told me you found it on Amazon and it worked great, so I'm sure you can find it on there. If you don't have an Amazon or you are looking for a bleach that you can get locally, Sally's has so many great bleach options. They have cream bleach, powder bleach, blue, violet, white bleaches. I've used many different brands from them. My favorite I've tried is the L'Oreal Quick Blue. I normally just get it in the tub whenever I'm doing my sister-in-law's hair. We always just use that bleach, and I also get developer from there. I'm probably not going to have to leave this lightener on as long as I normally would because I did that color remover a few weeks ago and it lightened my regrowth to that goldish color. This is going to lift a lot faster because my base level was already lifted a few levels. So this is going to lift a lot quicker than it would if it was all my natural darker level 7 color. How long you should leave on the bleach depends on what type of lightener you're using. So I would check the directions and see what the maximum processing time is. That will tell you how long you're allowed to leave the lightener on for. A lot of the time, people don't need to leave the lightener on as long as the maximum recommended processing time. I'm gonna leave mine on for 20 to 30 minutes. I like to set my timer and then I check it every 10 minutes. I don't just set the timer and forget about it because it is lightener, it is damaging, you might have breakage. So I like to periodically check on my hair and see how it's lifting every 10 minutes. That way, if I set my timer for 30 minutes and I check it at 20 and it's ready to go, I'm not leaving the bleach on for an extra 10 minutes, causing extra amount of damage. So now that I'm done applying the lightener, I'm gonna go ahead and set my timer for 30 minutes, like I said. So once my timer is set, I'm gonna go back through everything I just did and double check and make sure I did not miss any sections. This is like the most important thing. This is called cross-checking. So you're gonna go back in, double check, pull the hair apart, and make sure you did not leave any brown spots in your hair. At this point, the back where we first applied the lightener has already lifted the regrowth. So if there are any spots we've missed, it's going to be very noticeable. You're going to see that brown dot around the lightener. So it's going to be very obvious if you missed any spots, and it's going to be easy to just go in there and touch up those areas. So let me walk you through the process of cross-checking, and let me explain what that means. You're not just going to go back through and check everything like you did before. You're going to pull apart those sections in the opposite way you applied the color. So when I applied the lightener on my head, I took horizontal sections like this. So when I go back through and cross-check, I'm going to take vertical sections. I'm going to go through starting in the back and working my way back towards the front, and I'm going to be taking vertical sections, pulling my hair apart. That way, you're cross-checking everything you've already done. So you applied the lightener like this, you're going to go in like this, and it's just going to cross all of these sections, so that way you're making sure you're not missing anything. I'm going to start by sectioning my hair straight down the back, and section this into 2 pieces, and your hair should stay wherever you section it because you have that lightener pulling the hair apart. So there, I've just sectioned my hair, and I'm just gonna go in along this part and resaturate. There might be some areas that have also dried out a little bit, so just going back through and resaturating those areas is gonna make sure your hair lifts. To cross-check, I do put my hair into 4 different sections. I just divided it down the middle and the back, and then I just go along this parting and I just start pulling apart the hair and fanning it out. Then I'm looking in this section, looking good. I don't see anything back here, but I am gonna go ahead and just reapply and resaturate. It's not gonna hurt to just go over it with bleach again and resaturate, doing the same thing and pulling the hair apart. When you section the hair, you might remove a little bit of the bleach that was on that section. That's why I just like to go ahead and reapply the lightener on the sections anyway. Not only to resaturate, but if you accidentally scraped off any of that lightener, you're just gonna put it right back on there. So you can see up here at this top, there is a little section that I missed. So this is why it's super beneficial to go back in, cross-check everything, make sure you're not missing any dark patches, because we don't wanna look like a calico. Even though they're really cute, I have a little tortoiseshell calico baby myself, but I don't want my hair to look like that. If you had leftover color that you wanted to remove, now would be the time to go through and drag it over that band. So if I wanted to remove the leftover pink that's back here, now would be the time that I would drag the lightener down a little bit. Or if you have previous bands in your hair where some parts are yellow, some parts are brassy, some parts are white, you wanna go back over those parts that are brassy or yellow, so that way they lift to that nice, bright platinum white shade. So now I'm just gonna continue and pulling back the sections now that are in this front area. Around the hairline is one of the first areas that dries out, so make sure you reapply the lightener around your hairline because it will get dry and flaky after a while. Now we're gonna do the back left section. And like I said, I scoot my mirror on this side now, section straight down the middle, pull the hair apart, and go ahead and start doing the same thing. Look at that big spot right there that I missed. See that big spot? If I wouldn't have cross-checked, I'd be looking like a little calico baby. So make sure you cross-check. It's so helpful. And I would have hated to rinse my hair and seen that little tiny spot I missed and have to re-bleach. It's easier just to go through while you're waiting for your hair to process and cross-check everything. See, there's a little spot up here I see. Now I start pulling all of this hair back and sectioning it just like we had done before. Not only does this help make sure you're not missing any spots, but it also makes all of the hair go away from your face. So as you're pulling all these sections and bringing them back, It's gonna make it nice for when you're processing. All of this hair will be back and out of your face. Once the lightener dries out, it stops processing, so it's super important to maintain the moisture of the lightener. Putting a shower cap or a grocery bag or anything on your head that's going to maintain the moisture will help the lifting process, and it'll help accelerate things. It'll also keep the heat from your head in the bag, and it'll help lift things more evenly. I have 15 minutes left on my timer. I'm gonna go ahead and wait the rest of my 15 minutes, and I'll see you guys once my hair is blow dried so I can show you the finished results. I'm back. Here's how my hair turned out. I really like the way it came out. I think I'm gonna leave it like this for a few weeks and just kind of feel it out and see how I like it. I actually don't mind the leftover pink and blue that's in there. It's so pretty, and I love like the blunt like white bob. I think it's so cute, and my roots lifted really, really good to a nice pale blonde color. I'm gonna turn around and show you what the back looks like. Obviously, I still have some bright pink back there, but my roots are such a nice pale blonde shade. That is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it helped you in some way. I really wanted to put out one dedicated video on how to bleach your hair at home, tips and tricks I can give you, and how I bleach the back of my head. Don't forget to check out my Instagram. The link to that is in the description down below. I post way more of my everyday life on there. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much, and until next time, guys, stay weird. Goodbye.